Hello guys, welcome back to our channel BioLab, and this is VAMSI here at BioLab. And in today's video we will be talking about structure of neuron. Yes, in our previous video we have spoke about about the classification of PNS and general information of human nervous system. But in today's video we will be talking about the structure of what is a neuron. Neuron, it is just a nerve cell. Neuron is a nerve cell. Nerve fiber, it is a group of nerve cells. Okay, neuron, it is nothing but nerve cell. Simply write neuron equal to nerve cell. The other name for the nerve cell, is your neuron. Now we have to see the basic parts of this neuron. Let me tell you the basic parts of this neuron. What are the basic parts present in this? Basic typical neuron consists of three main parts. There are three main parts in a neuron. There are three main parts in a neuron. What are these three main parts? The first part is your cell body. The main and the first part is your cell body. Cell body, it is also called as cyton. Cell body or cyton is the first part of the neuron. Coming to the second part, we have dendrites. They are the branched structures, branches which are present, protrudings which are coming out of the cell body. Next one you have the axon. This is a long tube-like structure which is present at the base of the nerve cell or neuron. Okay, now I'll be drawing you the structure. I'll be drawing the structure of a neuron, and then I'll be showing you the parts. The video will be running. If you want to skip it, please skip it 10 seconds or 20 seconds forward by double tapping on the side. Okay, right side. If we double tap on YouTube, we'll be going fast forward. You can fast forward video. What is this one? This one is your cell body. This is your first part, cell body. What is this one? What is this one? It is your axon. Okay, this is your axon. Now, there is some special type of thing which is present in everything. Every cell contains, the brain of it is nucleus. This is this cytoplasm has a specialized structures called as Nissel's granules. Which are even present in the dendrites. The cytoplasm of the cell body or dendrites contains Nissel's granules. Please remember that point. Nissel's granules are present in the dendrites and cyton. Yes, cyton or the cell body. Now, these branches are your dendrites. See, now as I said, these dendrites are branched structures that terminate like this. These are your dendrites. These are your dendrites. Look at those branches, fine branches are your dendrites. Now this axon ends as axon terminals. These are your axon terminals. What are these? Axon terminals. This one we will not generally say in the main parts, but the branches or the end part of axon contains these axon terminals. Now we have specialized cells called as Swan cells, which are present attached to the axon, not attached, or they are present at the boundaries of axon. These Swan cells have specialized functions for secreting the myelin sheath. I'll be saying you in a little later, just after the structure we will be getting that about myelin sheath. I'll be telling you then, based upon this presence of myelin sheath, we have two types of neurons. So I'll be telling you that classification. Here we have the presence of Swan cells. Now this function of Swan cells is also a little important. Please remember it. These secrete myelin sheath around them. What is a myelin sheath? It is just a protective sheath of the axon. This myelin sheath is only present along the length of axon. This is your myelin sheath. This is your myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. This myelin sheath helps in the faster conduction of nerve impulses. This myelin sheath helps in the faster conduction of nerve impulses. Okay, got it? The myelin sheath helps in the faster conduction of nerve impulses. See, what is this myelin sheath? It helps in the faster conduction of nerve impulses. Now, this myelin sheath is not of continuous form. It is discontinuous. It is having some breaks in the middle. It is having some gaps in the middle, and those gaps are called as nodes of Ranvier. Those gaps are called as, see here, I haven't shown you the gaps, but it is like this. Oh, see this one, like this. This is called as nodes of Ranvier. Nodes of Ranvier. These are the gaps present between two, adjacent myelin sheaths. Remember that also. Nodes of Ranvier. Okay. Nodes of Ranvier. Got it? Yes. Now, please make a note of this. I'll be erasing this, and then we'll be talking about some important terminology which we are requiring for the transmission of nerve impulses topic. We require them for transmission of nerve impulses topic. I'll be covering it now only. Then we'll be moving on to one check by turning on this side also. Yes, it is fine right now. It is great. Okay, please make a note of this now. Then we'll be moving on. As I said, we will be moving on to some basic terminology which we please make a note. Pause the video, make a note of this. I am repeating it again. Please concentrate. There are three main parts in a neuron. What is a neuron? It is basically a nerve cell. Neuron is nothing but a nerve cell. These three main basic parts are your cell body or cyton. The second one is dendrites. These are branched structures which arise out from the cell body. And the third one is your axon. It is a long tube-like structure. Now, there are a presence of Nissel's granules. These are very important. Like their function is not important, but their location is important. They can ask you where the Nissel's granules are absent, and they will be giving you the options as cell body or cyton, or dendrites, axon. Then none of these. You have to choose axon. It is obvious that axon does not have Nissel's granules. Axon is devoid of Nissel's granules, and these Nissel's granules are present in cytosol as well as your dendrites. Now this axon terminates as bob-like structures which are called as axon terminals, and they contain vesicles, and these vesicles contains the neurotransmitters which help in the transmission. That is what I will be telling you just after analyzing this. So next one to be discussed is, these Swan cells are present attached to the axon, and they help in, or their function is to secrete myelin sheath, and this myelin sheath helps in the faster conduction of nerve impulses. And this myelin sheath is not continuous, it is discontinuous with the presence of gaps between it, and these gaps are called as nodes of Ranvier. So make a note of this all, this is very important. Okay. And there is a small interesting point which I will be writing here. This is very interesting point. You don't need to remember this, but it is just out of my interest I am telling you. Human brain is made up of is made up of 10 billion neurons. 10 billion neurons. Human brain is made up of 10 billion neurons. Okay. You just out of my interest I have told you that. If you want you can write it as it is, and or else you can leave. And this cytoplasm is also present in the axon, and it has got a special name. It is called as axoplasm. I will be writing it here. Cytoplasm of axon. I do not care about my handwriting on board. Axon is equal to axoplasm. Means is equal to means it represents axoplasm, and it is termed as axoplasm. So you have to remember this also. Axon. Please remember this one also. What is axoplasm? It is cytoplasm of the axon. Now, as I said, we will be seeing some important terminology which is required for the transmission of nerve impulses. Before going to that, let us see the types of neurons based on the secretion of myelin sheath. Then we will be seeing the types of neurons based on the number of dendrites and axons. Then last I will be telling you the terminology, because before going into terminology this is important. This terminology I will be repeating it in the next session too, but this one is important. Now I am removing it. So hope you got the three main parts. The three main parts are cell body, dendrites and axon, but there are collateral parts which we have to remember in general to attend the NEET exam. Those are your nodes of Ranvier, these axon terminals, axoplasm, myelin sheath, Swan cells. Those all are the side terminology which we have to remember. Now we will be seeing the types of neurons. Put the side heading types of neurons and start making the notes. Types of neurons. There are generally two types of neurons. Two types of neurons based on the secretion of myelin sheath. They are. So basically now I will be drawing you two types of neurons or two diagrams of neurons. Now tell me what is the difference between these two neurons. Okay. Now tell me what is the difference between these two neurons. 1 minute. Okay, I will be drawing you those two diagrams. Please watch them very carefully. I'm not going to write all the parts again, but just carefully watch these diagrams. And these diagrams teach you the types of neurons based on the secretion of myelin sheaths. In the secretion of myelin sheaths, which are very important, those are Swan cells. I am not showing you the discontinuous myelin sheath. I will just drawing the continuous one. Okay, this is one type of neuron. Okay, this is one type of neuron. And this is kind. Now let me draw you the second type of neuron. This is just a rough diagram. I have shown you the main diagram in this one. Important part. This is your second. Now tell me, what is the difference between these two? What is the difference between these two? So, what is the difference that you see between these two? Okay, let me move out of the boot. Okay. Now, tell me the difference between this one, this first one, and this second. Now, tell me, think over it. There is, you can find out the difference very easily. You can find out the difference very easily. Yes, yes. If you have guessed this correct, it is containing myelin sheath, but this is not containing myelin sheath. That's the difference between those two. That's the simple difference. But there are Swan cells. In the second type, there are Swan cells, but they did not secrete myelin sheath. But whereas coming here, these are having the Swan cells and they secreted the myelin sheath in the first type. So that is why these are called as myelinated nerve fibers. These are called as myelinated neurons or nerve cells or nerve fibers. Myelinated nerve fibers, and these are non-myelinated or unmyelinated. Non-myelinated. This is the terminology given in NCERT, so we will be following it. Nerve fibers. Please do not confuse with the name nerve fibers. You can simply write neurons. Myelinated nerve fibers and non-myelinated nerve fibers. What is these myelinated and non-myelinated? You have to remember. Okay. Now let us see their location. Where these are located. This is also very important. These myelinated nerve fibers are generally present in the spinal cord and cranial nerves. They form cranial and spinal nerves. Cranial and spinal nerves. These myelinated nerve fibers form cranial and spinal nerves. Important. Please remember. But non-myelinated nerve fibers are present in the autonomous nervous system. Autonomous nervous system. These non-myelinated nerve fibers are present in the autonomous and also somatic. Sorry, here add the word somatic and somatic nervous system. Basically, somatic and autonomous are the types of PNS. So they are present, both are present in the PNS, but simply remember that one, autonomous and somatic nervous system, either to the skeletal system or to the to which autonomous nervous system. Yeah, yesterday I have took that much class. Come on, please tell me. Yes, to the involuntary organs, visceral organs. Now make a note of this. If you want to remember very clearly, the difference between these two, just remember the diagram about non-myelinated and myelinated. Okay, just remember the diagram. Now this is one type of classification of nerves or neurons or nerve fibers based on the types based on the secretions of myelin sheath or not. If myelin sheath is secreted by Swan cells, they are called as myelinated. They are present as your cranial and spinal nerves. Yes, brain also contains nerves. We have seen 10 billion neurons are present in our brain, and those all are myelinated nerves. And these non-myelinated, they have Swan cells, but these Swan cells do not secrete the myelin sheath, and therefore they are present in the autonomous as well as your somatic nervous system. If you made a note, pause the video, make a note, and then we will be moving on to the second type of classification, in which we will be talking about the types of neurons based on the number of axons and dendrites. Okay, there we will be moving on. So hope you have made a note of the types of neurons based on the Now this is important classification which we will be seeing based on the number of axons and dendrites. The location is important. If this marker is fine, okay, I will be using this two, this blue and green markers. If it is not clearly visible, then I will be shifting on to the black marker, which will be very clear based on the number. Write the side heading, types of neurons based on the number of axons and dendrites. We generally write based on the number of axons and dendrites, but we will be only seeing there is only one axon throughout the classification. There will be only one axon throughout the classification, but we will be writing it as only the dendrite count changes. First one is the general type. Of neurons present everywhere. There are three types generally. Three types of neurons based on the number of axons and dendrites. First one is multipolar neuron. This is your general type. It is present in the brain and nerves. Multipolar neuron. This multipolar neuron has one axon, one cell body, and multiple or many dendrites. As I said, we will be only seeing the classification based on dendrites, but we will be writing as a side heading axon and dendrites. Write this, make a note of this, very important. They are general type of neurons which are present in us. But there is a second type of neurons called as bipolar neurons. By now, you could guess what are these bipolar neurons. Yes, if your guess is correct, they have one axon, one cyton, and only two dendrites. They have one axon, one cytosine, only two dendrites. But two dendrites. Okay? Dendrites. Sorry, not two dendrites. Two or more dendrites. Please make it on. Sorry. Here, one axon, one dendrite. One axon, one dendrite. But whereas coming here, two or more dendrites. Or two or more. So please be clear in this. Multipolar neurons, they have many dendrites, which means there can be two or more than two dendrites. And they have only one axon, one cytosine. One axon, one cytosine, but only one dendrite. Okay? These are bipolar neurons. Polar means, remember like this. Multipolar. If they have many poles means the terminals. See this one. This is one pole, this is one pole. If like this, there are two poles. Here, from here, this is the cell body. So just I am telling you to remember. This is the cell body. This is one pole, the upper pole. From here, if only one dendrite arises. From here, if there is only one dendrite arising, and these are the dendrite branches. And there are no other dendrites. These are not there. The dendrites are not present. These dendrites are not present. And from this pole, only one axon arises. Then it is called as bipolar neuron. But from this pole, there are many dendrites arising. But from the second pole, there is only one dendrite, one axon arising. They are called as multipolar neurons. We have another type called as unipolar neurons. Here we will be not finding the dendrites, but we will be having the axon, one cytosine and one axon. These are very important type, which are present only in the embryonic stage. They are not present in the later life. Only when the zygote converts into embryo, then they are present. In the later life of human beings, they are absent. Now let us see the locations of these two. These multipolar neurons generally present in our brain. You can write the generally present everywhere. But these bipolar neurons are present in the retina of the eye. Remember this, important. These bipolar neurons and unipolar neuron locations is important. So multipolar, bipolar and unipolar, I am writing it here using the green marker. I am not again writing it. Unipolar, embryonic stage. Embryonic stage. Unipolar. This is the third type. In which we have one presence of one cytosine and one axon. Okay? Please make a note and read. Then we will be moving on to the terminology, as I said, which are very important for your transmission and generation of nerve impulses. Not generation, but transmission of nerve impulses, they are important. Let me repeat for you once again. There are totally three types of neurons based on the number of axons and dendrites present. Multipolar neuron, as I said, one axon, one cytosine, but two or more dendrites. Okay? Two or more dendrites. Bipolar, they are present generally everywhere, like in brain and spinal cord. Bipolar neurons, they have one axon, one cytosine, and one dendrite, and they are present in the retina of the eye. Unipolar neurons, they are something special. They have only one cytosine and one axon. One cytosine and one axon, no dendrites. They are present in the embryonic stage of the human. Okay. Now I will be telling you some important terminology. Okay. These terms I will be repeating it again in the next lecture while I am telling you. But they are the basis, so I am covering it in this lecture, and then I will be ending with it. And then we will be going into depth. If the time permits only, I will be repeating in the next lecture. If not, I will not. Please remember this. Terms. Basic terms. The first one is, you have to remember, when we have to remember, pre and post synaptic membranes slash neurons. Okay, this is one thing which we have to remember. Next one we have to remember about synapse. Next we have to remember about synaptic cleft. Fourth one we have to remember about neurotransmitters. And fifth one we have to remember about the types of neurons based on the presence of synaptic cleft, variety, electrical types of synapses, and chemical synapses. These are the 6 terms which we have to remember for tomorrow. The next episode. Now I am not going to write any definition on the board since there is no time. We have exceeded the time much. So I will be just telling you the definitions. Now before moving to the presynaptic and postsynaptic membranes and neurons, let's see what is synapse. Synapse, it is a gap between two neurons. You can remember like that. It is a gap between two neurons. See, if here is one dendrite of one neuron. This is one dendrite. This terminates as a rod. And this is one axon of other neuron. This is axon, this is dendrite, and this is called as synapse. Got it? Synapse, it is a gap present between two dendrites of different neurons, one axon and one dendrite, or one dendrite and one axon. Got it? Two dendrites. There can be, in a place of this axon, there can be other dendrite of the other neuron, or they can be axon of other neuron. Here in this place of dendrite, there can be axon. Two axons or two dendrites, or one axon, one dendrite. The gap present between them is called as synapse. Now what is this? This synapse contains 3 parts. One presynaptic membrane. Here, this is one. The first part, presynaptic and postsynaptic membranes, and also synaptic cleft. This synaptic cleft, it is the gap. It is basically the gap which transmits the neurotransmitters. And this synaptic cleft, as I am saying, neurotransmitters, I will be explaining you them also. They are the chemical substances which helps in the transport of nerve impulses. They are the chemical substances which help in the transport of nerve impulses. Okay, they are the chemical substances which help in the transport of chemical substances. Now what are the 3 main parts? Again let me repeat: pre and post synaptic membranes, synaptic cleft, include or constitute synapse. Now here what are these pre and post? Pre and post are nothing but what is meant by pre? The previous one. If there is one dendrite and one axon, the dendrite neuron, the neuron which is consisting of dendrite is termed as presynaptic neuron, and the membrane of it is called as presynaptic membrane. Okay, and this second part or second neuron which is consisting of this axon is termed as post neuron or postsynaptic neuron or postsynaptic membrane. The membrane is called as postsynaptic membrane. This is called as presynaptic membrane. Okay, this dendrite part pre, this axon part post. Got it? Post presynaptic membranes plus a synaptic cleft include synapse. Synaptic cleft is the exact graph through which the transmission of neurons, neurotransmitters Now coming into the electrical synapse and chemical synapse. The electrical synapse, it is a type of synapse or gap in which the synaptic cleft is absent. In electrical synapse, third part is absent. Third part means synaptic cleft. This is absent in electrical synapse. So you can say that there is no use of neurotransmitter. There is no use of neurotransmitter. Synaptic cleft is absent. So the conduction is very fast. There is no, transforming of these electrical signals or nerve impulses into neurotransmitters, and then these neurotransmitters again is releasing from the presynaptic membrane, and from there the receivers of the postsynaptic membrane receive it and then decode it again into electrical synapse. They conduct. So this is all not necessary in the electrical synapse, but these are rare in our system. They are rare in our system. They are not found everywhere, but some places they are found. The electrical synapse, the conduction is fast, but coming into chemical synapse, they have the presence of synaptic cleft. So that is why the neurotransmitters are important. Neurotransmitters are important. And in the yesterday's video, or the previous video, we have spoke about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And the parasympathetic nervous system releases a neurotransmitter called as acetylcholine, and that neurotransmitter is also released by the in the neuromotor junction, which we have spoke in the locomotion chapter. So that is why they post-synaptic membrane can be pre and post-synaptic membranes, can be of dendrite, can be of axon, can be of a muscle, or the target tissue. Okay, that is it for this video, guys. And in tomorrow's video we will be seeing the generation and transmission. Generation we will be seeing, and then we will be talking about the transmission in the next video. So that is it, guys. If you like this session, please hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel BioLab. And this is VAMSI signing off. And if this ink is okay, then I'll be continuing it. If not, please comment down below so that I'll be changing into. So thank you, guys. Have a great day, and also subscribe to our channel BioLab.